In the late 1960s, Northern California became the stage for one of the most chilling and mysterious crime sprees in American history. It all began quietly, with the disappearance and brutal murder of unsuspecting victims, but soon escalated into a nationwide sensation that would haunt law enforcement and the public for decades. The man behind these terrifying acts would come to be known only as the Zodiac Killer, a name that would send shivers down the spines of anyone who heard it. What made this killer unlike any other was not just the cold, calculated nature of his crimes, but the way he taunted authorities and the media with cryptic letters filled with complex codes and chilling threats. His story is one of fear, psychological warfare, and a relentless game of cat and mouse that remains unsolved to this day. The Zodiac's first confirmed attack took place on a quiet evening in December 1968. A young couple, parked in a lover's lane near Vallejo, California, were shot at close range with no warning. The brutality of the crime shocked the local community, but the Zodiac remained hidden, leaving behind few clues. This initial murder seemed random, senseless, and impossible to predict, creating an atmosphere of paranoia that gripped the surrounding towns. Yet this was only the beginning of a series of violent attacks that would leave a deep scar on the region. What truly set the Zodiac Killer apart was not just his ability to strike without leaving evidence, but the sinister way he engaged with the public after his crimes. Within months, letters began arriving at local newspapers and police stations. These were no ordinary messages. They were carefully crafted cryptograms, puzzles containing coded messages that challenged both law enforcement and the public to decipher their meaning. The Zodiac demanded that his letters be published on the front pages of newspapers, threatening further killings if his demands were not met. This psychological tactic created a widespread media frenzy, turning the killer into a dark celebrity, feared yet strangely fascinated over. The complexity of the codes sent by the Zodiac baffled professional cryptographers and amateur sleuths alike. Some of these ciphers were eventually cracked, revealing disturbing content that showed the cold, remorseless mindset of the killer. One of the most infamous decoded messages contained the chilling sentence, "I like killing people because it is so much fun." This revelation exposed the twisted pleasure the killer derived from his acts and his desire to instill terror far beyond his immediate victims. The Zodiac's attacks followed a pattern of randomness, often targeting young couples in secluded areas, but his methods were anything but random. He was meticulous and calculated, often escaping without leaving a trace. His signature was not just in the murders, but in the symbolic cross-circle symbol he left behind, which appeared on his letters and at crime scenes. This eerie symbol became synonymous with his dark legacy and a chilling reminder of his presence. Police investigations were intense and ongoing, but the Zodiac seemed always one step ahead. Despite multiple suspects and countless tips, the killer was never captured. His identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American crime history. The lack of a clear motive and the deliberate complexity of his communications made the case especially difficult. The Zodiac's ability to disappear into the shadows after each attack only fueled public fear and frustration. Beyond the crimes themselves, the Zodiac Killer's story represents a profound psychological battle between predator and prey, law enforcement and criminal, sanity and madness. His letters were not just messages, but weapons designed to manipulate and control the narrative, spreading fear and uncertainty throughout the community. The media's role in amplifying the killer's notoriety also added a complicated layer to the investigation, as public attention both helped and hindered police efforts. The cultural impact of the Zodiac Killer has been significant, inspiring numerous books, movies, and documentaries. His case represents the archetype of the elusive, intelligent serial killer who uses the media to his advantage. Yet, despite the public fascination, the families of the victims continue to live with unresolved grief and unanswered questions. Each letter, each cipher, and each new theory reminds us that the story of the Zodiac Killer is far from over. Today, decades after the last confirmed attack, the Zodiac case still captivates true crime enthusiasts worldwide. Advances in forensic technology and renewed investigations periodically reignite hope for closure. However, the Zodiac's true identity remains hidden, a ghost in the annals of crime history. The legend of the Zodiac Killer endures as a haunting reminder of how fear, mystery, and the human psyche intertwine in the darkest chapters of our society. If you found this deep dive into the origins of the Zodiac Killer gripping and chilling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video for more fascinating true crime stories. Stay tuned for the next chapter, where we will explore the relentless hunt for this shadowy figure and the many suspects who have emerged over the years. The relentless hunt for the Zodiac Killer became one of the most complex and frustrating investigations in American criminal history. Despite the extensive efforts of law enforcement agencies, the killer's identity remained shrouded in mystery, fueling public fear and fascination. Over the years, countless suspects were investigated, theories debated, and cryptic messages analyzed. But the man known as the Zodiac continued to evade capture, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and chilling uncertainty. The investigation began with limited leads. But as the killings and letters escalated, police resources were poured into trying to identify the elusive murderer. The Zodiac's letters, filled with puzzles and threats, became a key focus of the investigation. These coded messages were unlike anything law enforcement had encountered before. They were carefully designed to confuse, taunt, and intimidate. The killer seemed to enjoy playing this deadly game, maintaining control over the narrative and instilling fear not just in his victims, but in the entire community. Many suspects emerged over the years, each with varying degrees of evidence pointing towards them. One of the most well-known suspects was Arthur Lee Allen, a man whose background and behaviors raised many red flags. Allen had access to weapons similar to those used by the Zodiac, and some witnesses claimed to have seen him near crime scenes. However, despite these suspicions and intense scrutiny, concrete evidence linking Allen to the crimes was never found. DNA testing decades later failed to connect him to the Zodiac letters, leaving the case open and Allen's guilt unproven. Another suspect who gained attention was a man named Gary Francis Post, whose family claimed he confessed to being the Zodiac Killer shortly before his death. Post's face was shown in age-progressed sketches, and some investigators felt there was circumstantial evidence linking him to the murders. Still, law enforcement has not officially confirmed Post as the Zodiac, and many experts remain skeptical. This ongoing debate highlights how difficult it has been to definitively solve this case. Adding to the mystery, the Zodiac Killer's cryptic ciphers remain a fascinating puzzle. While some of the codes have been cracked, revealing terrifying statements and clues, several others remain unsolved. These unsolved ciphers continue to attract amateur codebreakers and professional cryptanalysts alike, sparking theories about hidden messages that could reveal the killer's identity or motives. The challenge of decoding these ciphers has become a captivating part of the Zodiac legend, blending true crime with the intrigue of unsolved puzzles. The cultural impact of the Zodiac Killer is undeniable. His story has inspired countless books, movies, podcasts, and documentaries, embedding the killer deeply into American pop culture. The fear and mystery surrounding the Zodiac have made him a symbol of the terrifying unknown, a reminder of how one individual can manipulate fear and media to control public perception. Yet beneath the sensationalism lies the real tragedy: the lives lost, the families broken, and the haunting lack of closure for many affected. Law enforcement agencies periodically reopen the case, driven by advances in forensic technology and renewed public interest. Modern DNA analysis and digital forensics offer hope that new evidence might eventually break the decades-old stalemate. Cold case units tirelessly re-examine old evidence, hoping that something overlooked in the past might finally bring justice. Despite these efforts, the Zodiac Killer remains at large in the shadows of history. This case also raises important questions about the nature of evil and the human psyche. The Zodiac Killer was not just a murderer. He was a master manipulator who understood how to use fear as a weapon. His letters and actions reveal a mind obsessed with power, control, and infamy. He carefully crafted his persona through media, engagement, understanding that attention would prolong his influence. This psychological warfare added a chilling dimension to the crimes, making the Zodiac not only a physical threat, but a psychological one. For true crime enthusiasts and investigators, The Zodiac Killer represents the ultimate unsolved mystery. The blend of brutal violence, cryptic communication, and the unknown identity creates a gripping narrative that continues to captivate audiences around the world. Each new theory or suspect adds layers to the story, keeping the conversation alive and fueling the ongoing search for answers. As the story of the Zodiac Killer continues to unfold in documentaries, books, and discussions, it serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, persistence, and the pursuit of justice. It is a dark chapter in American history that challenges investigators and society alike to confront the complexities of crime, media influence, and human nature. If you found this exploration of the Zodiac Killer's investigation and the endless quest for justice intriguing, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories, and share it with others who are fascinated by unsolved mysteries. Stay tuned for more chilling tales from the darkest corners of history.